to make sure you don't have the wrong version of form. There are different modules in EpidataTutorial that you need to know, because otherwise it will be very confusing. The first one is the questionnaire module. It creates a file with an extension QES. Yeah? That's just word processing. Second file that you will create is a rec file. This contains the data. Okay, data file. And then there's another file called check file that contains the rules and queries. For instance, on this field you can only enter N or F, or in this field you cannot enter values more than 100. Okay, so there are three types of files. They will have the same file name. For instance, exercise 1 rec, quest, QES, and then rec. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is define our data entry sheet. You will see it here. There is a number of consecutive steps. Define data. Make a quest file. Use QES. This is text editor. What is your name? Yeah? How old are you? This is basically your data capturing screen. Okay?
You put all the questions in there.
You put all the questions in there where you wish to enter your data. Now, I advise you to keep this as close as possible to your original questionnaire. Don't try to edit this nicely. The only thing that you need to do now is to get as much information that is on your form in there. Don't omit fields that are on the form and say, perhaps I won't need that information later. Because once you've entered it, it's very annoying to go back to the questionnaire, make a new data entry, enter one value. Just put everything you have in your form in this screen. Later on in the analysis, if you wish not to consider a certain variable or a value, you can always delete it in the analysis. But if it's not entered, it's very annoying. You have to go back and define a new field. So everything that you have to remember, everything that is on the written pages needs to come to the data, to the electronic file. Okay? So keep this as close as possible to your original file. Yeah? Don't structure it the same way, try to use the same heading, so it's very easy if you have the data to know what you want.
So Carl, if you have 3 questionnaires, you're going to be doing 3 sets of data entry.
It depends. If they're
or should you continue?
Yeah. If they're administered at a different time, I would make 3 different sheets, because the ID numbers will not be following the same. Maybe you have children that are missing. You could enter all the questions in one.
Mm-hmm.
If that is easy, but you have to make sure that you enter the correct values for every person, of course.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't want to bother with that, you make an entry sheet for questionnaire 1, survey 2, blah, 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 and later you merge them into one.
Mm-hmm.
It's up to you. Okay, so we can enter a field here called ID. Okay, now, obviously this is not very user-friendly, because this is just text. So what I need to do is I need to tell the software I need to create a space for a variable to capture data. And this you do here. Field pick list. But in a second you will do you can do the exercise, and then I can show you. You will get stuck in. Okay. So you will get stuck somewhere. But this gentleman should know all these things, huh? So if you have a question,
I've already finished, so now
it's just a recapitulation.
I have another question apart from this.
All right. You can take a chair. Take a chair.
Because I don't know now how to import this.
So here we have just text. We need to say to the computer, provide a space for answer. This is this question. Okay, provide a space for answer. I go to the second one, the field pick list. And here, where you can say, okay, I need to enter a number. My ID will be a number. How many digits before the decimal? Let's take 7. After the decimal digit. So what he uses this symbol. Yeah? You don't have to use this. If you remember that numbers are coded by the symbol, you can just add it. Okay? What is your name? What type of information will you be entering there? A text. Text. How long? Maybe 20 characters. How old are you? It's a number again. 2 years. Okay? Very simple question there.
And every question there, you don't need to put numbers of like the item.
No.
Okay.
Just you type. Use the format that you have in your survey. If you still have the survey form in Word, you can just paste it in there. So you don't have to retype it, but you have to add those symbols, of course, to provide enough space. Okay. I'll save it. You will see that I'm saving a QES file. QES is a questionnaire file. Just save it on the desktop. So this is text. You can make this in Word and just paste it in there if you want. Doesn't matter. Only text. Okay. Then the second step comes is make a data file. Number 2, make a data file. I use the quest form, so I call it untitled, and he will use exactly the same variable name but make it a rec file. So I will create, I'm here now, I will create my second file. This one contains the data, this is important file. Once you have actually created this one, you don't need to do this one anymore. So I create a rec file. It asks me a data file, a label. Why? Because later on you might have different tables, because this is actually just a table, it's a spreadsheet. It's like Excel, that are linked together. But if you have just a simple data, you just type anything. Okay, now if I show you, I have 2 files. Now, don't worry about the symbol. One is called untitled QES and untitled .text. Okay, and then I can enter data. Let me skip number 3 now. I can enter data. I go to my rec file, of course. I don't go to the question. I go to the rec file that contains the data. And here you see immediately what he has done with the symbols. He has created space for variables. Okay, so that's the whole idea. ID 1. What is your name? Carl. How old are you? 37. Save record to this.
You look like 30.
Yeah, goes fast. Enjoy it while you're still young. Okay, save record to this. Yes. So, and here I can browse. I can go back to the first one. You see? So next one, number 2, Anna. 27. Oh, save record to this, and you continue like this.
So how do you after you
Goes
have
automatic. Number 3, Benson. It's automatic save. You don't have to worry. How old are you? 35. And I don't do any. I type 35. I come to the end. It says save. When I enter the last one, save record to this. Yes.
okay. Then it grabs it.
Now, on the other hand, if I go to Guao, of course, he's not so young anymore. He's about 100. If I want to type 100, I have a problem. You see? My space is too small. Now, this is, you have to be careful, because it's better, I cannot enter 100. The space is not enough. So, you better take much more space than you need than too little. It doesn't matter if this one is 50 characters or if it's 2 characters. The file is almost the same. It's a very simple file. It's very low in size. But if you have too little space and you have already entered data, and you want to increase the size of the variable, you say, I don't want to take 2 digits for age, I want to take 3 digits. You start changing the format of the data entry, you can lose your data. So take enough space. How old are you? Why don't you take 4 spaces? Okay, there's nobody that is 1,000 years old. But anyway, maybe you find somebody that is, I don't know. It doesn't matter whether you have too much, if you have too little, you have a problem. Okay? So that is the first recommendation. Make sure you can capture all the data from the questionnaire in the electronic form. Voilà. To give you an idea how it looks, I can close this and I can, for instance, document view data. I then go back to the same record. And you see here it's a spreadsheet. So my data is stored as a text. Actually, it's as a spreadsheet. Actually, it's stored as a text file with commas separated, like Excel. So it reads quite easily. So you can also close this. You can go to export data and send it to Excel statement.
How about your text file or not?
Okay, check file. Let me try again. I will go back here and I will change. Is this clear for everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah. First recommendation: make sure you have enough space. Don't make it very small. Make it bigger than what you need. Then you have no problem. Okay. Let me open the new quest file. This one and say, okay, what is the gender? And then what do I do? I need to enter a text of one space. Here I want to enter M or F. Yeah? Okay, I make data file. I will lose my data. Let me type 2. Yeah, I make a new file. Oh. Type 1. And I just enter something. Okay. If I enter data here, or number 2. Maybe gender and F. Save it. Make data file. Yes. Okay, enter data. Okay, so this one. This empty, of course. I've created a new file. There's no data yet. What is your name? How old are you? So I can enter number. 1 year. M or F. I can do M. Save record this one. But I can do F as well. Problem is I can do any letter. I can do C as well. Okay? So sometimes you want to restrict. You want to put a code. Only M or F. So I'm not a big fan of putting too many restrictions. Maybe somebody has, I don't know, that is unknown. You want to enter unknown. There's always, when you enter these questionnaires, there is always something that you cannot preview. You see what I mean? And I don't want to answer or whatever. You could also say they have to enter this one. You can specify they have to enter something. But maybe they forget to put on the questionnaire. But then if you have specified they have to enter something, you'll be forced. And then you create an error. So I don't like too many restrictions. You see? But anyway, it's possible to put some, and that you do in a check file. So you do here, you go to the rec file, use the rec file to open, and here you have your check file. I want to go here, so this is the field I want to change, so I should click on it, and I say, arrange legal. If I put here, I do M or F. Must enter, yes. If I, for instance, say must enter, then I will be forced to enter. You will see here that there is a new file created called untitled check. Now, when I open this file, the untitled rec, he will look for an untitled check in the same folder. So you need to keep the files together. Yeah? Open. And if I do 22, this, how old are you? M or F, I can do T, no. So possible legal values are M or F. I cannot keep it blank because data must be entered in the field. And then you can add it. Okay, so that is what you can do. Now, there's another thing that you can do in this check, which is more interesting, I think. I can go to the, let me check, change the data file again.
So when you make a check, then you no longer feel like put the data in the rest, but
You always put the data
For
in the
your
rec.
check.
The check file just contains a number of rules. The rec file is the data file, but the check file says, be careful for this field, you have to enter something.
so you can, it's just like you check after you already put the data.
Yeah. Well, I can show it to you. It's very simple code actually. I can do here. I can say village. Now you can type the villages, or you can say village 1 is this, village 2 is this. Usually it's much faster to say village 1 or country or the categorical variables. You want to say from 1 to 5 options. Or M or F, you can say 1 is male, 2 is female. That's much easier. You don't want to type Ghent University, Antwerp University. You want to click Ghent University, Antwerp University. It goes faster, but secondly, if you go Ghent University the first time without H and the second time with H, it's a different name. So for those text variables, it's not very convenient to enter the whole text. Yeah. Typically villages, but also choices of maybe you have a question that says, I like it very much, I don't like it, stuff like that. You don't want to type I like it very much, you say, okay, choice number 1, choice number 2, choice number 1.
You specify in a different document?
Yes, that you do again in the check file. So for instance here, I will not enter the name of the village, I will enter the number. I have 5 villages. Save it, make a data file. Number 2, okay, yes, I overwrite it, okay. And then I go to check, and I say, give me this one. And for the village, I don't want to make a range or legal values, not from, you can also say from 1 to 5 or from 7 to 9. I don't want to put a jump. A jump is that you say, if you enter ID 1 here, you jump to this one. If you enter female, then you go to this section. If you enter males, you go to that section. Sometimes it's useful, sometimes it's not useful. You must enter no, I just want to keep it. Repeat could be that, you repeat the previous entry. If you have 30 people from the same village, you don't want to say this is what is put by default as already the previous village is selected, for instance. You can change it, but the previous entry will already be suggested for you. But then the last one is important, value label. You create like this, 1 is Ghent, 2 is Hanoi, 3 is Cuenca. Don't change it, because this is the code. Don't remove it, so the label is label village, and just you type the names, and that's it. Okay? Now, if I enter data now, I can go here to the last one, and I can say F9, and I can pick it. You see? If I put F9, how do I know? F9, because you have to look here. This contains information on the variable. Here you see ID. This is the ID, the variable name is ID. This is important because later if you export to SPSS or Stata, you need to know what your variable name refers to. Yeah? So this variable name is ID, this variable name is what? Why? Because he has chosen the first word. He has to take something for the variable name. This one is how, and this one will be gender, and this one will be village. But you see information here. ID is a floating point, 0 to 9, commas and points allowed, because it's a number. Here, what, alpha, all entries allowed. It's a text with a length of 21 characters. How old are you? So it's a number from 0 to 9. Gender, it's an alpha, so it's a text variable, and you can enter only M or F. It's a must enter field with a length of 1. And then village, you see here, integer, press plus or F9 to see legal values. Plus, for instance, and that's it. That's Epidata. Maybe there are stuff like you can jump from here to there. You can code. You can go to different variables, to the last field, to the first field, to the one that says Cuenca, to the one that's number 9, but this is the
question. I have a question where I ranked the options. Rank the following sources of food.
But the first option, and then you enter number 9.
Such as like the other one on production. It's like
You can say first option, and then they have to say number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
the
Second option, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
no.
Like this. Voilà. What I would advise you to do, however, and this is, he has done that already, he can share the example with you, is make a code. Because it's very easy to forget these things. If I'm extracting my data to SPSS, I might forget that number 1 is Gans, number 2 is Hanoi, number 3 is Cuenca. So what I would do, if I were you, is make a code book, which is a table, basically, that has following characters. So the name of the variable, type, code, description. So to get one, where you say, okay, name of the variable 1 is ID, it's a number, and the code, there is no code in here. Description, ID variable, that's it, individual. Later, it's much easier for you if you need something. Okay. Number 2 is what? It's what? What is your name? It's a text. There are no codes. Name of the respondent. How old are you? How? It's a number. There are no codes. Respondent. Gender. It's a text. And it has M or F. There are no codes here. It's just M or F. Gender of the respondent. And it's male. S equals now it's easy, of course, but there could be confusions. Maybe 0, 1, that's already more difficult. And it's very easy to make a mistake. You say, in the data entry, you say 0 is for males, but then in the analysis you change it and you're looking at 0 for females. It can easily happen.
But also
Village. And then village, wait a second, it's a text. No, it's a number, where 1 is Ghent, 2 is Cuenca or Hanoi, and 3 is Hanoi. See? Village of Mexico. You make a table like this, it's not too much work, but it will avoid a lot of confusion. Also, when another person one day perhaps needs your data file to make an analysis, or you do your thesis, and 2 years later you say, oh, that is interesting, I want to write a paper on it, or somebody else says, can I use your data to write a paper, and you will be an author, or blah, blah, blah. This will be very clear then. Because now you know, but after 2 years you might forget it.
Because normally I often go back to the check file to check
Yes,
everything.
yeah, it's very annoying. You make this table once,
That's a good idea.
and you put it in the annex of your thesis, so when people they have it together, and it will be fine. Okay? And that's it. So that's all there is to it. I can show you how. Let's see. Well, I can give you an example of code book. But you better, can you share with them your code book? Because this is a very quick.
yeah, of course I can send it them.
Yeah, you can share it. You can have a look how you made it. You can use the same.
But there is no difference because I code even this one.
Yeah, well, it's okay. You can put this. That's not the point.
Put it number.
You can do it, or you can do 0, 1. It doesn't matter. But just just remember how to make a table like this. I think you get the point. Okay, I wanted to show you how the coding is really stored. So I will open the. This is the questionnaire file. but in Word. So I open it in Word, so you see that it's only text. So this is the QES file, but I open it in Word. I can also open, they're all text files basically, also the data file, that's text file. So the rec file, you see this is how the rec file looks, it just has the data. So it's a very simple format, it's a text format. It's not it's very light to email, for instance. And the check file as well, you can have a look. Of course, you cannot save it, but just to look at what it contains. You see, this is the code. So there's a label, the village, one gets, Quaker, ends. Okay, gender, it's a legal, so I have to enter. So legal is only M or F, and I must enter end. You see, this is the code behind it. If I omit this end, obviously there's a problem in the program will not work. But just for you to look, to have a look how it works, what the code behind it. Yes. I don't want to say it, of course. Okay? So what I would advise you to do is to try it, to make a number of quest files, and when you get stuck, let me know. We can quickly review, or you can work together on it. And that's the most important thing. Before you start entering data, it's good that I can have a look, because sometimes it's, why do you do it like this? Why do you do it like that? Make sure that you have enough space, or something's uncoded. I don't know.
Can I type automatically? I mean that if again I only type V.
No, not in this.
Because in my file the district is the same for every, and I need to type.
Well, what you can do is put the repeat. Yes.
I think that.
Yeah, the repeat is very easy for you. So I go to the check. I use the rec file. And I say, okay, maybe the village here is always the same. I do a repeat. Yes. Save. So what will happen when I enter data? Okay.
But it is a new file because I already typed something.
You know what you will do? You take your data file, you make a copy somewhere, you try it.
Okay.
If you destroy your file, you have a copy. Okay. I think it will work. Normally with the check file you can change, because it doesn't change the data file, it changes only the rules. So that's fine. But if you start making this one a numeric field instead of a text field, you lose the data. If you want to make this one 3 characters instead of 2, it's dangerous. You see what I mean? If you have already entered a lot of data and you say, oh no, my variable is too small, I want to make then it becomes tricky. So you have to avoid that. But changing that this is M or F and maybe comma U or another variable, that is possible. If you want to add a variable, that is also tricky. I'm not sure how that affects the others, and so you have to make sure that your file is ready as much as possible before you enter. And you see here, for instance, okay, what is your name? This, M or F. Village 3 is the previous village. If I click next one, save record of this, you see that village 3 is already proposed for me.
But if it's another village, then you just put the...
If it's not number 3, you put number 2.
Okay.
But then, in the next one, and already again number 2 will be selected.
Because of the
Okay.
But at the end, when you have all your data, then you realize that for your statistic analysis, instead of the name, you need a number. You can change, like in Excel, you can say convert all the against into 1.
Yes, but that is not the way to do it. You better enter it as a number with a picked list. Those data manipulations in Excel, sometimes they can be very dangerous. Because Excel, you do like this and you remove some data and you misclick, and I'm always skeptical in Excel. This is protected. You see, you cannot just change the data of the previous entries. In Excel, I have a table. I can click here and there and skeptical. But if you have a general, if there is a text variable that is always the same. There's only a few options possible, maybe 10 options, like the district or the, I don't know, the name of the food or the type of car. Then you enter a number. Yeah, because you cannot do anything with the text variable in your data analysis anyway. If it's poor, rich, or middle off, that needs to be a number. If you want to enter that into an equation or a tabulation or a regression model, you need a number. You cannot do anything with the text. The only reason why you want to put the text is basically if the variable is different for everybody. Your name, the name of the mother, that you cannot say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, of course.
Code. For example, the children from 1 to 50, we can say another 5, 1 is me, someone else 2.
I wouldn't do that because you will not use that information in the analysis anyway. You just list of names. Why don't you type the name there? It's, yeah, because you will spend more time making 1 in this and then you try to find number 73 in this. Type it. See, this information normally you don't use in the analysis. Maybe you want to check something and say, oh, this person, I have a different ID. Oh, what's the name of this child? Oh, I can go back to the questionnaire. Okay, but then you want to see the name, not the number. So then I wouldn't do that. But for the rest, for also gender, M or F, I wouldn't use text, I would use 0, 1. You will need the 0, 1 in your analysis anyway. You will need it in the models. And then later in your software, you can say 0 equals females, 1 equals males. So always, for all the variables, you need numbers. Except for the text that is typical for an individual. And then there's another thing that you can add, and it's dates. I haven't shown it, but if you do a new quest file, there are other options than this one, and it's, for instance, to have numbers before the decimal, after the decimal. I can do this, yeah. Or I can say the date, and say the text variable, no. The date of today, okay. The format. You can have an automatic that it's from the computer, it generates the date of today. Sometimes it's easy when you want to record date of entry, date of data entry. Or you can say, no, I want a date in the format day, month, year. Okay. And then there is another format that says auto ID number. So every time you add a new person, the ID number will increase by 1. I'm not very fan of it because when you enter your questionnaires, you don't always have from 1 to 50. Sometimes you start at 74 with this, with that. So. But anyway, the soundex thing, I don't know what it is. Boolean yes or no means yes or no field, a special field. And that's it. But you can do this with 0, 1 as well, or with the text field, yes. So these are the two ones. Okay?
So for going back to the first question I had, Carl, regarding 3 questionnaires, and if you have the same codes, you can just merge through the codes.
You merge